Hello everybody, welcome back to the Bison Workshop. I'm Bob, and today we're going to do an update video and show what I'm working on for the shop. As everybody's seen in one of my last videos here not very long ago, I had a problem with my computer not booting up, and I found out that I could run it on the second BIOS. Evidently, one of the BIOS got corrupted. So, I don't know if there's a way to overwrite or rewrite those BIOSes or not, but when you start getting into rewriting BIOS and changing those settings, and you may get the wrong file and install the wrong BIOS update, and you'll render the board useless. So it's better to just try to find another alternative and be done with it. Well, when I first moved here about 4 years ago, something like that, I was looking to replace this computer here because when I moved it crashed on me and I haven't been able to get it back right again. So I had to get a new board, and I just went ahead and got everything and put it all together. And this case was sitting in a junkyard, sitting on his front porch, and it's a beautiful case. It's all aluminum, and it's got plenty of expansion bays in it, and I mean it's just a nice case altogether. And I don't know if you guys can see that case. Well, you can see the edge of it. There you go. And this motherboard was in it, and it was missing the CPU, and it was missing the RAM. And apparently somebody just robbed it out of there. But I got that case for $10, so. Right now I've got the North Bridge, South Bridge heatsink off of it, and I'm going through it and redoing the paste on it, the thermo paste. I thought there was another one. Got them little copper things on the bottom of them. But anyway, also on the top of this was a heat sink, and it also has an option where you could put a water cool block on it. Well, I'm not going to run water cool, but what I did do, as soon as I find it, this plate goes on top of that with heat thermo paste. And this is what the heatsink was actually attached to. It was actually epoxied onto it. And it just kind of comes up and has the fins on the side, sort of like that right there. And I'm going to try to build a new heatsink for it. So this one here is the best candidate. I had thought about using something like that right there, but it's just too close to the CPU. And then I was thinking about using this come off of a video card or something like that. I keep all that stuff, never know when you might need it. So I decided to do this and change and put the correct fan on it for the CPU, like this right here. Instead of a mount like this where it pulls the air up, this one here will bring it out. And I'm only going to use one fan because I'm never going to overclock this board. But what we've got here is a bloodrage, a foxconn bloodrage quantum force i7, and it's a X58, something like that. And I only need it to be able to run YouTube and Netflix and to be able to search for things on Amazon or eBay or AliExpress, which I've been doing a lot here lately, is going to AliExpress. So I went and found a processor for it for like, I want to say less than $10. I'm gonna look here real quick. Actually, it was more than $10. I was able to get a CPU for this and 2 gig sticks of DDR3 1600. I think it should. I think those two should be fine. I don't know what memory I stuck in it, but I don't think it's the right one because I seriously doubt that it's DDR3. Although it is fitting in the slot, but that doesn't mean that it's DDR3, and I keep losing my magnifying glass. Yeah, see, this doesn't say that it's DDR or DDR3, it says it's PC3. I don't know if that means the same thing, but this is a 4 gig and that's a 4 gig. I don't think these work. These might have actually been in it when I got it. That's probably why it wasn't working, so they took the CPU out. I don't know. I don't know the history behind this board, but I'm going to leave that memory in there because it's 8 gigs. And if it is the correct RAM, then I'll leave it in there. But I did go online and search to find out what memory actually, well, looked up the specs for this board, and I can't believe this board has been forgotten like it is. It's such a nice looking board. It's got a lot of features on it that I enjoy. You got your power switch on the back. You got power switch here, I think, and I haven't really went through. Oh, reset. You got your power and your reset here. Then you've got your BIOS. This one's got 2 BIOSes on it too, dual BIOS. And there's a jumper on here somewhere for that. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about how to make a heatsink to go on this part right here. So what I'm going to do is just set that down on there just temporary, just to kind of get an idea where it's going to set. Then we're going to use this, and because I've only got one CPU fan header, I'm pretty sure I only have, well, it says fan 1, so there must be a fan 2 somewhere. If there is, I'll leave both of them on it. System fan 1. That says fan 2, but it doesn't say if it's the CPU or if it's the case. So, but anyway, I think it'll work fine with just one fan on it. So basically what I'm going to do is find out what direction these things are turning to find out which one I'm taking out. Alright, so air is coming through that way. So we're going to take this fan off because we're not going to push the air through. We're going to pull the air through. Man, that thing's dirty. So make sure cleanliness is next to something. And we're probably going to have to change the base on this. I don't know if I have one. Let's see if I have one. Because this is a Intel, and I'm going to need one that's not AMD. This is for AMD. Now, I have this fan that would probably work, but I'm trying to get it so that it will pull air through this part, because what I plan to do is this area right here, from here to here and here to here, is how big I'm going to make this block. And I'm going to make it so that it sets on there and screws on with two little screws on the bottom of it, and screw it from this side to screw this onto this plate, and then this plate will then mount to this. So basically, let's say that we had this cut. Let me bring you down here. But let's imagine that this is already cut down to fit that. It was set there like that right there, and then the fan, if I can use this one, I'm hoping I can use this one, put that there, and then when it pulls the air through this heat sink, it'll blow across this. So that'll take care of both of them, and I won't have to have a fan on this. Now, I was thinking that I could possibly do something like that right there, and then mount a fan right on the front of it here, but then you're getting in the way of your slots, so that's not going to work. So I believe that the best way to make this work, and I'm going to keep looking, I've got other heat sinks. If I can find one that's not as good as this one is, I hate to cut this one up because it's such a nice piece of aluminum heat sink that I can actually screw a fan to. But we'll look around here and see if I can find another heat sink or another option. I've got a few laptop CPU fans that could work, but we'll see. So we're trying to put this plate on the bottom of this, and I'm thinking it'll work because it's got to step up like that, but I believe it'll work just like that right there. So that would mount right there, just like that. Then this would mount on that. Of course, I'd have to take this coating off. Then I can mount that like that, right there in the center. Yep, we just cut us a square in the center. And hope we got enough room for screws. So anyway, guys, that's about it for me today. I just kind of wanted to mess around with this thing and see if we can get it to work. I did plug it in. These here lit up. There was some lights, some other places where there was some lights. Right here maybe, I don't remember which one it was, but there was life. So that's a good sign. I just plugged it in, turned it on, turned it right back off as soon as I seen action. I didn't have no CPU in it, so I don't think that would hurt it. So it had life. So that's what sparked my interest to go ahead and try to get this one going. Alright guys, so now that we have got a plan, this is the plate that I'm going to use. This was a bottom plate that went on the bottom of the Intel, and I went with this one because it was bigger. I wasn't going to be able to use that other square because it was just too flimsy. So I went and drew up one online on Tinkercad that is the same shape as that. And that's my pattern right there. So basically what that's going to do, this is going to look like this when I'm done. So this is my template, and it goes on there just like that. And we're going to go ahead and put this thing together. Now I'm probably going to have to shorten these standoffs to bring it down closer, but I can't measure that until I get the CPU in. So until I get that, I can't really do a whole lot about that. So we'll go ahead and put this temporary template on, and see how well this thing's going to work. Alright, so now we have a base, and that's going to be this plate right here. It's steel, so I got to take that and mill it out. So now we can take this and mount it right on top of that. And what I've done is I took the screws out of that other bracket. If I can find it here, I took the screws out of this bracket, which I don't understand. And I took a spring, the old original springs out of my Ender 3 3D printer for the bed, and put that on there. So that'll screw this down. So we'll get that screwed on. Now it's not going to be spring loaded yet because I got to shorten the standoffs and possibly change the screws. I'll probably change the screws and just get a shorter screw with that same thread, and make a shorter one. Because we got to have this to where it will press and still have some spring action if I can ever hit the hole in the screw. So then we can put our fan on it, which I have cleaned up, and that will go probably like that. If I can remember the direction. Yeah, again, it's like that. So we'll put that fan right there like that, and we're just going to set it there. So then I went and 3D printed a plate for this, which is the same as this plate, and that will go on there. But the only difference between this plate and this plate is I've got to put holes. Now I've got to move these holes out further, but I'll do that when I mill it. So, because I realized I put them in the wrong place. I don't want those screws to be on top of this copper part. So I got to move these screws out another 10 millimeters, about half that distance between this hole and this hole. And then these middle screw holes will be to mount this to it once we cut it down. So then this is actually just a template to tell me where I'm going to be drilling my holes. So I'm probably not even going to use a plate. I'm not even going to mount this to a plate. I may just mill this thing out so that it's got standoffs on it to where I could just use a screw to hold it down against this, because this part is just barely proud of the black part. So we need that to be, them screws to be on the outside of that. So that's where we're at so far. The next thing that we do, we'll be out in the shop milling this. Now this is one of them jobs that you might see a video next week, you might see one in a couple days, or you might see one in a month on this part 2. Reason being is because we got snow on the ground, I've got things that I've got to take care of, I've got a gun that's coming I got to fix, and that's the money. So I can't take time on this if I need to make money. So there you have the beginnings of making a AMD fan fit an Intel board. Now they probably do have brackets out there, but I don't have them laying around. So I have to be creative. Now it's a good possibility I might make that plate out of aluminum, a thicker aluminum. That way I may not have to take the standoffs and shorten them. I could just take and bend this down right here and then bend this back out, and that will lower this part right here. We only need to move, we need to drop this down 6 millimeters, I believe, but we won't know that until I get my parts. So I'm pretty much stopped on this until I get parts for it. And like I said, I've got a gun that I've got to fix, a broken rocker for the sear, trigger sear, and a standoff that the stock screws into, so I got to make that too. Anyway, don't forget to have your Trump coffee, guys. I hope that we can make this board work. Anyway, you guys have a good one. Later.